I don't see me. I don't see me. No, no, there I am. Okay, that'll work. Hello, Cerberus. I'm doing alright. Can you hear me just fine? Okay, that's good to hear. How's your day going? Hopefully everyone got the notification, so hopefully they'll be on their way. Okay. Okay. Alright, looks like my last video is starting to stir some discussion, and that's good. Oh, Zach. Your sleeping schedule's messed up again? I know the feeling. Hope you get a chance to adapt. Hello, Caleb. What the? As a joke. I hope that's not accurate. For a gig? Right now I'm downloading the mystery game, and according to this, it's saying like 78 minutes. The game is only 1.62 gigs, so I'm like, I don't know what the hell's going on, but it better get fixed. It better get fixed. You just woke up from a nap, and now you're eating dinner? Oh, what are you eating? I had I had some blood work done today. So, and, what's going down? Not much, we just got here. Won a galactic conquest as rebels attack Coruscant at Luke Skywalker. Okay, that's a good strategy. Well, the only thing that's going down is I'm attempting to download the mystery game, but time-wise, we might have to extend the stream until it's done, maybe. But I assure you, it's not just dance, because somebody, maybe in the chat, maybe not, decided to ask me to do some dances that nearly got me killed. So if he who shall not be named is in the chat, thank you for nearly getting me killed. Hello, James. How you doing? And Cerberus, you're eating rice, beans, and steak. That sounds like a good combination. You finished watching the Fallout series for the second time? Okay. I mean, I've heard it's okay, but, I don't think it would appeal to me since I'm not a Fallout fan, so, And you want a match on Luke's home world as the droids with Darth Maul? Tatooine? Yeah. Hello, Jackie boy. Why can't I give Horizon Zero Dawn a 10? Okay, when I really get down to it, I mean, one thing I think, for me personally, as the first entry in a game, I don't think you could give any... This is just my opinion. In my experience, it is extremely rare to give any first entry in a series a 10. If you look at all the games that are in the 10 out of 10s, none of them are the first. Absolutely none of them. I mean, when I really look at them, they're all sequels in some sense. So, Mario 64, that's not a sequel. Okay, I'm not saying it can't happen. Batman Arkham the Asylum, that was a revolutionary experience that improved as the series went on, but it had flaws. And I've stated this before. I mean, that's why I think Arkham City mechanically is a better game, but because they made it bigger, it had flaws that Arkham Asylum did not have. Devil May Cry 3 and 5 are sequels. Uncharted 2 is a sequel. Rise of the Tomb Raider is a sequel. God of War 3, Ragnarok, those are sequels. Kingdom Hearts 2 is a sequel. Persona 5 Royal is an updated version of an already good game, but that's a sequel. Resident Evil 4, sequel. Dead Space 2, sequel. Metal Gear Solid 4, sequel. Final Fantasy 10, sequel. And Metal Gear Solid 3, sequel. It is almost impossible for the first entry in any franchise to get a 10 out of 10. It's almost impossible unless it's a revolutionary game. So, in that sense, I think Forbidden West had a better shot of getting a 10 out of 10, but it just didn't do it. It improved in gameplay, it really lacked in story, and Aloy was a much unlikable character in the second game. I like her a lot more in the first game than in the second game. And they even did something in the last DLC that I wasn't against, but I kind of had a feeling that they were, like, kind of stating that gayness was in DNA. Because they extensively made her come out that, yeah, Aloy is a lesbian. So I was just like, okay, I have no problem with that. But I think you're kind of insinuating that gayness is through DNA. It's because Elizabeth Shaw was gay, Aloy is gay. And I figured that's the direction they were going, and I was just like, this kind of comes out of nowhere, and it kind of goes against how her character has developed over the course of the game. So that I thought was just weird. So that's, like, in general, why I can't give Zero Dawn a 10 out of 10. Because it's almost impossible, unless it's a really revolutionary game, to give any first entry in a series a 10 out of 10. And you could tell that Horizon was going to be a franchise. There was no question. What did you miss? Oh, no, just some discussion. And don't worry, Vamp, you didn't miss much. We just started. Okay, now the download is moving faster. Okay, that's good. So I don't know what happened, but okay, yeah. The mystery game should definitely be done before the time we're done. Thoughts on the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle franchise? I haven't really been interested in it in a long time. I mean, I watched it in the 90s. And I liked, like, the 2018 movie. I thought it was okay, but not great. Wasn't really a fan of the Michael Bay films. I really haven't watched any TMNT since outside of that 2008 movie. I think before that, they did, like, a collaboration with the Power Rangers and Power Rangers in Space. And they had, like, there was a TV show at the same time, and they introduced, like, a female turtle. I don't remember her name, but, like, she was, like, a mystery character. So, but to be fair, I always felt that, like, TMNT was more of an 80s thing. Like my eldest sister, she grew up with TMNT. I grew up with Power Rangers, and that's just how it was. Like when it comes to Transformers, I didn't see the original G1. I was introduced to Transformers during Beast Wars, which is why I was kind of disappointed with what they did with the recent one. I was just like, oh, you actually have the Transformers I actually enjoyed, but you don't really use them as well as I thought you could. You're curious, am I checking out the Acolyte show? Hell no. Hell no. I have not been interested in Disney Star Wars in a long time. Yeah, I gave up on that year a long time ago. I think once they I didn't think the Kenobi series was bad. I thought it was okay, but it had every right to be great, and it wasn't great. That was my complaint. I think someone did, like, a fan edit, and, like, that was better. like the potential for that story to be great was there. It was just okay, and I thought that was disappointing. And once you screwed up Obi-Wan Kenobi, like, that's it. You there's no coming back. Why can't I give Spider-Man 2018 a 10 out of 10? Because it's too similar to Batman Arkham. Took too much from Arkham. Simple. Good game, good comic, good story. I like Spider-Man better as a character than Batman, but it took too much from Arkham, and it took too much from Arkham. If Arkham did it first and you try to do it again, you can't get credit for it. You're gonna lose a little bit of points. But it's still in my opinion, it's the greatest Spider-Man game I've ever played, even to this day, which is a good thing. It doesn't need to be a 10 out of 10 to be one of the all-time greats. That's still like a 9.5, and it's the greatest Spider-Man game I've ever played. I think that's a good enough title. What are my thoughts on the new Venom trailer? It looks okay. I don't know if I'll see it in theaters because I thought the last one was not that great, so I'm on the fence. Sorting your Yu-Gi-Oh cards. Got over 100 of them. I got more than that, and I'm thinking about selling them because I realized, you know what, I can just play Yu-Gi-Oh! Master Duel, and it's been a very, very long time since I've even played them analog. And I don't play Yu-Gi-Oh! Competitively. I don't go to tournaments. I don't even think I've taken part in a tournament. And unless I get like a good group of friends, I'm in like, what's the point? So if I'm sitting on like several $100s worth of valuable cards and I can sell them, I think I'll do that. So that's where I'm at with Yu-Gi-Oh! Cards. I mean, I'll still play the game, but yeah. So you think compared to Anakin and Dooku character from the sequels are not as good as lightsaber users? Of course not. How many lightsaber users are there? You got Kylo Ren and you got Rey, and the choreography was bad. It was really bad. I mean, they're swinging, but I'm like this. They're using lightsabers the equivalent of if you have two people swinging baseball bats. There's like there's no grace, there's no precision, there's no tactics. They're just swinging them like baseball bats. Like, pretty much, if you took two 10-year-olds, gave them lightsaber, you would get a better lightsaber fight than what you got out of those films. And the fact that Kylo Ren was supposed to be trained by Luke Skywalker, and he gets his ass kicked by, like, Finn and Rey, made no sense. The fact that Luke Skywalker gets his ass kicked by Rey made no sense. And then I didn't even bother seeing the third one, so I wasn't going to waste my time. Like, by the end of The Last Jedi, I wanted to literally strangle the child I was sitting next to. Like, that's how pissed off I was. I wanted to strangle a child. And I didn't even know this kid. I was just like, that's just how the seating was. And I was sitting next to a kid, and I was so pissed off. I was like, I want to strangle somebody. It's like, who's the nearest person? Oh, this little kid. But I'm like, well, I don't want to do that. I don't want to go to jail. Describe Uncharted 4 in 2 words. Almost perfect. Almost perfect. I think that's good. Make a video of 3 most disturbing moments in movie theaters. Disturbing? I don't think I've had disturbing. I've never had like a bad. I can't recall I haven't seen like a really, really, really bad movie in a long time. So like I'm a lot more careful with movies, and I don't even go to movies that often anymore. But like I can't think of even when I was going to movie theaters like a truly bad experience. Like a bad experience for me would have to go more than just the movie was bad. It would have to be like, oh, they burnt my pizza, or they didn't have a drink, or there was like a bug in my box of candy. Like something like that would be considered a bad movie experience. Apparently, Final Fantasy IX is getting a remake, but I won't believe it until you see a trailer otherwise. Heck, if 9 wants to get a remake, that's fine. I won't be playing it, but heck, you know. Give me a hint of a mystery game. Okay. Oh, shit, started. Shit, the game started by itself. No. Okay. Okay. I'll give you a hint. It is a trilogy. That's all you're getting. It is only a trilogy. And it transcends 2 generations. Started in one generation, finished in the next one. And if there's a real reason, why the hell are they skipping Final Fantasy VIII? I don't know. I don't know why. I don't know. Who knows? Describe Spider-Man 2018 in 2 words. Amazing experience. As I stated earlier, it is by far the greatest Spider-Man video game I've ever played. No, just took a lot from Arkham. Like, that's how good Arkham Asylum was. Like, Arkham Asylum was so good that, like, the mass majority of comic book video games took inspiration from it. And when you do that, then you have to come up with something on your own. And I don't think Spider-Man did that very well. But it was still a fantastic game. So you think that Capcom will have another RE game and Street Fighter Season 2 DLC. I don't know. I don't know. Look, I don't know. I'm not into Street Fighter. You guys know that. I'm not into Street Fighter. If they announce another Resident Evil game, like, okay, whatever. I mean, all right, Sean wants a joke question. Do you think you could kick Lightning's ass in a fight? Oh, dude, I could not only kick her ass, I would rape her. And not physically, it would be like, the ass kicking would be so bad, it might be considered a rape. Like, you guys might have to call the cops. But I wouldn't, like, physically rape her. It was just like the ass whooping she would get would be the equivalent of a physical rape. I mean, Luke used a lightsaber as a baseball bat. Yeah, but you gotta give Luke credit. He was an amateur. Kylo Ren is not supposed to be an amateur, so... My problem with Venom 2 is that it feels like it didn't do enough with Carnage. I agree. It felt too much like a... It kind of felt like almost like a romance between Brock and Venom. It felt that way. Like, I didn't take Carnage... Like, Carnage was not as crazy or as threatening as I think he should have been. And Carnage is supposed to be a lot more scary than Venom, and I just didn't get that. Like, I thought Venom took Carnage out way too easily. Yeah, Yu-Gi-Oh! Is a mess. Yeah, it's a big mess. Since you did a top 10 Capcom and Konami game, can you do a top 10 Square game? Really? You want Square? Really? I mean, I'll think about it, but... I mean, I guess I could. If people saw it, because... I really want people to see more of these top 10 videos and ranking videos. Is it a PlayStation exclusive game trilogy? No. No, it is not. Absolutely. This is not a PlayStation exclusive. It never was. I'll even say this. I think one of the entries is more well known on being on the Xbox than the PlayStation. It came out on both a PlayStation and an Xbox, but I think more people probably would have played this on an Xbox. Zach wants to know, I remember a moment I was watching Days of Futures Past in theaters, an emergency happened and we were sent outside and we came back in and it was quiet and we couldn't hear what the guys were saying. Well, I mean, I wouldn't call that a bad experience because that has happened to me a few times, but I wouldn't consider that like a bad experience. Like, I saw Oppenheimer and they had some issues with that, but it was only delayed for like 10 minutes. And then a couple of the movies, I can't remember exactly what they were. The same thing happened where it was just the audio, but they had it fixed in like 5-10 minutes. So, you know, it wasn't all that bad. Like, I understood. Like, you know, digital machines, you're going to have little problems, but I wouldn't say that was like an awful experience. Like, I think an awful experience would be like if there was like a shootout or I paid money to go see a movie and the movie broke down and they didn't give us a refund. Like, something like that. That would be an awful experience. But like an awful experience would have to be like, it was so bad, like, I never want to go to that theater again. Like, I think a really bad experience has to be involved with the overall experience of going to a theater rather than seeing the actual film itself. It's got to be much more than that. Would you kick the Afro black guy's ass in a fight? You're damn right. You're damn right. Absolutely pathetic excuse of a black man in a Final Fantasy game. Barrett would rip his ass in half. Barrett's actually pretty cool. Cyberpunk 2077? No. Oh God, you're off. If that's your guess for the mystery game, oh God, you're off. Oh God, that's so far from what the game is. You could excuse some of the less flashier choreographed in the OG trilogy because it was old. Aren't the original Star Wars movies almost like 50 years old at this point? Almost. I think the first Star Wars came out in 1974. Let me check. Star Wars New Hope release date.
In the United States of America, Star Wars Episode 4, A New Hope came out on May 25th, 1977.
Oh, so no, we still got about 3 more years before that movie's like 50 years old, which is crazy. So no. Dead Space? No. Not even close. I don't think anyone's going to get this one. I'm going to make an amp prop someday. Oh, really? If you get along with that, send me pictures. I'd love to see how your amp comes out. What do you hope to see at Summer Game Fest? Okay. I hope they announce Ghost 2. I just want some PlayStation exclusive content. I hope this game comes out maybe maybe late next year. But my biggest thing is Ghost. It has been way too long. I'm curious. Ghost of Tsushima release date. Yeah, like that game came out like almost 4 years ago. Like doesn't have to come out. Like just announce it. Like it was released July 17th, 2020. I'm like, okay, it's been long enough. Like even if it's in development, like just an announcement. Just an announcement of Ghost 2 would be good. That's all I'm asking for. What about Hope? We don't talk about Hope. We do not talk about Hope, man. I noticed Chikorita's on my desk. Well, yeah. She's my favorite Pokemon outside of Lugia. She's my favorite starter. I don't give a fuck what any of you guys losers say. Oh, there's so many people that shit on Chikorita, you can go straight to hell. Chikorita evolved to a Bayleaf and then a Meganum. Meganum has always been on my final Pokemon League team. Every team I ever made, whether it was in Pokemon Silver, Pokemon Gold, Pokemon Crystal, Soul Silver, Heart Gold, Meganum was on the team. I was not going to lose my starter. I don't give a damn what any of you people say. Hell, it was Bayleaf that actually took out the Wendy's milk tank. And I made sure it was a girl, so a track didn't work. Bayleaf was like the only female, so Milk Tank's attractability didn't work. Although that would be curious if it did work. Like, could you imagine how would you react? Like, how would you react if you found that if a female Pokemon performed attract on your female Pokemon and it worked? Like, wouldn't that confirm that your Pokemon was gay? Being like, what? You're gay? Like, I didn't know that was possible. Because maybe that happens out in the wilderness. I don't know. Like, I've seen, like, male dogs hump each other all the time, but I'm not sure if that counts. Yes, I know who Hope is. And I would easily send him to the hospital by blowing his head off of the Magnum with a shotgun. Chikorita is a good Pokemon. I remember Ash had a crush on him. Yeah, I remember that. Chikorita's cuteness is lethal. Yeah. Good going, buddy. Mine wants to chat. What is the best game I've played this year so far? Stellar Blade. Easily. Helldivers. Good game. Not enough depth. Couldn't get through the first hour of Rise of Ronin, and that was my most anticipated game of the year. And South Park was very disappointing. So far, the best game I've played is Stellar Blade, which I am still playing. Easily. I'm not sure if it'll win Game of the Year. I'm not sure if it'll even get a nomination. I think it could. But right now, there's not really right now, like Assassin's Creed, like despite its controversy, that's the only thing on my radar that I'm interested in playing. So like we'll see. Barrett is like anime. Yes, I agree. Absolutely, Van. You are spot on the money. Okay, I'm gonna turn off the PlayStation 4 so that way the controller has time to charge. All right. Who's Hope? You don't want to know, Broken Limit. Don't ask. Don't ask. You don't want to know. I promise you. I promise you. If you even spend like 5 minutes with Hope, you're going to want to kill him. I promise you. You're going to want to kill him. You don't want to know. Don't ask. It's like Fight Night. First rule about Final Fantasy. Don't talk about Hope. Second rule about Final Fantasy. Don't talk about Hope. Emotional support Chikorita. You could say that. You could say that. Your hatred for is honestly pretty fascinating. It's not fascinating, it's depressing. That game literally nearly killed my love for gaming, and it bothers me more now than the death of my own father. Like I had a funny moment. I had a funny moment this morning. I got a phone call from like some random number. It must have been like a tax collector or something, and they were asking for my dad. And I just like laughingly said, Mr. Finney has been dead for like 7 years. So I laughed about it. I mean, I'm not happy my dad is dead, but the fact that like I'm like a game bothers me more now than the death of my father is pretty crazy. Like, I'm still not over 13. And it's been now, what, 15 years? And I'm still not over that. So you think someone like Anakin / Darth Vader could have changed, Yeah, could the Phantom Thieves have affected Darth Vader? I'm not sure. Well, I'm not sure that's possible because Vader was always conflicted. Vader was always very conflicted. I mean, he didn't necessarily agree with everything that Palpatine asked him to do. I think he only stuck with Palpatine as long as he did because he didn't have anyone else. Like, he had destroyed his own old life, and so he had nothing to go back to. And so, like, it's kind of unfortunate that, for someone who started out as a slave, worked hard to be a Jedi, to be one of the greatest Jedi of his time, at the end of the day, at the end of his life, was back to being a slave. And then being a rule of two Sith meant that he was constantly being tested, and then a few times I don't think Vader was ever too serious about trying to overthrow Palpatine until Luke came into the picture. Like, I think that Vader at that point was just content with just always being a servant because he had nothing else in his life. He had no purpose. And I think that scares Anakin the most. Like, when you don't have a life, you seek a purpose. And at least Palpatine gave him something to do, even if he didn't like it himself. If you saw one of the characters in real life, would I attack them? You're damn right I would. I attack them mentally. Like, I'm not sure. Have you guys seen the movie True Lies with Arnold Schwarzenegger? And you know that scene where he's in the car with Bill Paxton, and Bill Paxton's kind of bragging about screwing Arnold's wife, and then in his mind he just kind of envisions what it'd be like just to break his neck. I experience that every time I see someone cosplay as an F-13 character. Every time. If I go to a convention and I see someone dressed up as Lightning or Hope or anybody, I just think of how much joy I would feel by taking the nearest blunt instrument and just bashing their head in, because they must clearly have something wrong with their head to come to a convention dressed as one of those characters. Every time. Which is why I try to avoid conventions. It's been a while since I've been to one. I think the last one I went to was Comic-Con, and I didn't see any F-13 characters, so that was a good thing. You're the only person I know that has such a... Dude, I'm not the only one. I promise you. I promise you. There's a video that I've saved in my favorites file that goes into so much depth, step by step, what's wrong with that game, in better ways that I could ever explain it. Like, I could not be as articulate with destroying and going over why this game is so wrong. It is so fundamentally wrong than this video does. Your explanation for how is worth less than nothing is a reason why I call it, yeah. I thought Vader was truly dedicated to the Sith. I think he was dedicated because he didn't have anything else left in his life. Like, you have to remember, he only decided to join the dark side to save Padme. Once Padme was gone, he didn't really have a purpose. So he was more of well, I've already come this far. I can't turn back now, so I might as well just keep going down this path. But he was always conflicted because he could never get rid of that bit of light in him, that bit of conflict, which was always there for 20 years. It was still there. Luke even could sense that it was still there. And even when Vader tried to deny it, it was no, it was still there. Deep down, Vader knew what he was doing was wrong, but he did it because he didn't have another purpose. So he was committed, but only when he felt like he had no choice. He had no other options. The anime monster also is a good example of mental attacking. Yeah. Vamp, you weren't talking about that game specifically by any game general. I never seen anyone hate a game on the level you do with that game. You'd be surprised. Okay, let's get away. Let's get away from talking about that game. I'm seeing that too much. Too many 13s here. Let's talk about something else. Maybe try to figure out what the mystery game is. Let's talk about something more positive. How often do you guys, I'm curious, now that there's so many of you, there's 8 of you guys here, how often do you guys go to the movies? Have you seen Rachel Hollis rant on F? No, I've not seen that, but that guy just seems to... that guy seems to just hate everything. Like, I can't recall, like, I've seen his videos, and, like, I know he's the rageaholic, I get that, but, like, at some point, you need to do something positive. Like, Angry Joe is Angry Joe, but, like, if something is really good and he likes it, like, he'll tell you that he likes it. Like, it doesn't happen, like, he doesn't go Angry Joe mode all the time. I mean, it's entertaining, yes, but, like, there are times where he's very positive about something, and that's just something the rageaholic just doesn't do. Like literally, like, that guy seemed like the kind of person, like, you would expect to shoot up a school. Like, just how he is. He kind of feels like he's that kind of person. He's like one bad day away from just shooting up a school and just being another school shooter. Like, I always got that feeling from him, which is why I stay away from his channel. Hardly ever too bloody expense. I haven't gone to the movies since I went to see the Mario movie. Yeah, something I didn't mention in my video I just posted. I think something I should have mentioned was that I think the period of COVID made us all comfortable with not having to go to a theaters. Because that period of time where they were releasing movies on digital, like streaming services, I was like, they released like a lot of good movies that I was like, you know what? I can actually see like a brand new movie at home, and it's actually nicer. It's cheaper. I can get my own food. I can pause it whatever I want. I can watch how many times I want. I don't have to pay. I think COVID kind of gave us the impression that we didn't need a theater to enjoy a movie to its fullest. And I think that's true, because there's several movies I've seen where I saw it in theaters, and then I saw it like either on television, or I even saw it on my phone, and I was just like, you know what? I had just as much fun watching it. Like, I just finished watching Dune Part 2, like, yesterday at work on my phone, and I had a good time. I mean, I had like the right earbuds, so I had like really good sound, and the movie was fine. And I was like, you know what? Had I not seen Dune in theaters, and I had just seen it at home, or at work, I would have enjoyed it just the same. My experience, my thoughts on it did not change one bit. Not a lot, since the tickets are not worth buying. Yeah, I know. I'm being honest. Like, I'll tell you guys this. I did recently pre-order my tickets to go see Deadpool and Wolverine, but it's mainly just to get that popcorn bucket. I gotta get myself one of those. That is way too funny. There are too many funny things I could do with that in a video that are like funny and not like gross and adult or inappropriate. Like that is generally funny. Like, I'm curious if there's gonna be like a Deadpool version of that. Like, this looks like it was designed by Deadpool. This popcorn bucket with Deadpool looks like it was designed by Wolverine. I'm very curious. I go to the movies once a week. On the Friday, the last film I saw was Furiosa. I used to be like that when I first started the channel, but yeah, I'm glad you still do it. Like, I didn't feel the need to see Furiosa. I was like, I don't need to see this. I think the Saiyans would be a race of Siths, just all dark side users. You're probably right. Probably. They probably would just end up killing each other, because that's how the dark side works. Like, that's kind of what brought the downfall of the Sith, was that they were all so power hungry that they ended up like wanting to wipe each other out. Cerberus wants to say, honestly, when it comes to certain movies, I feel more comfortable watching them at home, because I have a hard time being around large crowds of people. It's not even that. It's just like, when that's the thing. Like, I don't need a crowd. I don't need to see a movie with a crowd in order to enjoy it. Like, I was talking with my friend at work. I was like, it's not so much like when you go to Blockbusters. Do you go to Blockbusters because you really want to see them with the crowd, or is it just like the newest thing to do? Because like, I compare like seeing like a Marvel film to something like seeing Dragon Ball Z Broly, in which Dragon Ball Z Broly would not appeal to the general audience. And so if you actually went to go see that movie in theaters, you are sitting in a crowd of a lot of people who really love Dragon Ball. I'm not just seeing it with people who feel obligated to see the next Marvel film, because they know like 30% of that film is dedicated to setting up the next Marvel film. So if you don't see this movie and you just see the next film, there's probably a lot of things that happened in the previous Marvel film that were set up that you don't know about. Like, I think that's why I got tired of Marvel films, is because I didn't feel like Marvel films could stand on their own because they spent so much time setting up what was going to happen in the next film instead of trying to make the best movie that they had. Which is why I really appreciate the approach that Christopher Nolan did with Batman Begins. He openly stated when he was making the film, he had no plans on making a sequel. There were no plans to make The Dark Knight. He focused on just making the best Batman movie he could. And that movie stands on its own. It really does. You could watch just Batman Begins, and you don't even need to see The Dark Knight. Like, that's an option. But if you go into Dark Knight, it's like, yeah, that movie kind of stands on its own, but it kind of leads into Dark Knight Rises. So I think at that point, they knew there was probably going to be a third one and make a Batman trilogy. And I think most comic book movies nowadays don't do that. They spend too much time trying to set up the next one instead of trying to make the best film they can in the moment. Like, if your film is good enough, you don't need to spend time setting up a sequel. It'll make itself. My most anticipated movie is probably Treffer 3? What's that? But that movie, I probably don't have the balls to watch in theaters. Okay. What's up, Winter Ghost? How you doing? What? What? No. Okay, I'm wrong. Okay, I'm off. Okay, I thought an hour went by already. I was like, what? I was like, oh no, it started at 4:30, not 4. Ooh, okay, we're good. We're good. Don't you mean Dragon Ball Super Broly? Yeah, that's what I meant. Yeah, it's just like Dragon Ball Broly. You know what I mean. Which of these two places are worse, Chernobyl or Salt Flakes? Well, I don't know what fault the Salt Flakes are. So I guess Chernobyl by default. So yeah. Marcus, now you understand why I'll never be interested in MCU. Yeah, I stopped. Yeah, like that's the problem with MCU films. That's why I stopped watching them. Like, again, I have not seen Endgame. I saw Infinity War, and that is literally the last Marvel film of any kind I've seen. And I think that film's like 5 or 6 years old. But I literally have not seen anything in that amount of time because it's like there's no point. Like, that's the approach that they had been using for so long, and after a while, like, I'm not even interested. I'm good, Winter Ghost. Okay, well, I'm glad you're doing good, Winter Ghost. I'm doing all right. Okay, Vamp. I still don't even know how to pronounce that. Do I like the Lakers? Man, fuck the Lakers. I'm a Celtics fan. What are you talking about? What are you talking about? I hate the Lakers. I hate LA in general. Bunch of Flash Boy pussies, in my opinion. I miss the days where they used to make heavy metal songs for Dragon Ball Z movies. That was an interesting time, wasn't it? Who is the most relatable comic book hero to me? To me? Damn, that's tough. If I'm being honest, I think I feel closer to Batman. And I'm a black guy. So I think it's funny. It's like, yeah, I'm a black guy, and I feel more connected to Batman, just because we're kind of like we're kind of, I don't want to say depressing characters, but we have a hard time kind of seeing the brighter things in things. I mean, Bruce can be a real asshole at times, even his own family. Well, these days in superhero movies, the multiverse stuff is is on the rage lately. But that's just getting old now. Like, I mean, the only reason I saw the Batman was because it was its own thing. It wasn't a part of, like, a big cinematic universe. I was tired of those. Like, I'm not even sure if I want to see this upcoming, like, Superman and, like, restart for the DC. I'm not even sure if I want to. Because I'm tired of cinematic universes. I'm just tired of them. Because it holds you back. It limits what you can even do in your films. And so you're not making a movie to be great. You're making the movie to be just good enough that you convince your audience to be interested in the next movie, even though it's about another hero. And I think that's the wrong way to make movies. The last two films you saw were Screen Room was Dragon Ball Z Broly, and Endgame, which was like 5 years ago. And when I went to go see Furiosa, it was nearly empty. Like, yeah, that's what I've been hearing. Hearing Disturbed in Dragon Ball Z movies was cool. Yeah, it was cool. As someone who lives in California, you hate LA. I don't know how you live in California, Marcus. Those prices. I don't know how anyone lives there. Like the only time I was ever living in California, I was living with family, and like I was like, oh my god, these prices are insane. Like I don't. You have to be working 3 jobs, just have your own place. Like I would be surprised if there's anyone who can afford to live by themselves. They're probably they have like a roommate or they're still living with family. But then that's like everywhere in the country. And Batman was all right. Yeah, Batman. I thought Batman was all right. Not perfect. I had some problems with it, but I thought it was okay. And when the sequel comes out, I'll definitely check it out. But yeah, the Batman I thought was fine. Batman is probably the most human comic book character, which is what makes him so relatable. Very true. Danny wants to know, do I read Dragon Ball Super mangas? I don't anymore. I used to, but I stopped. I'm the kind of person that when it comes to certain mangas, I want to wait till the entire story is done, and then I want to binge it. Like, if there's like a television show, I don't watch it episode by episode by episode. I want to wait till it's completely done, and then I'll binge it. That's just how I do it. Like, when it came to, like, X-Men 97, I made a serious effort to not watch it, and then wait for the 10th episode, and then I saw all the episodes in one day. That's just how I deal with, like, most long-running shows nowadays. I just talked about it. And I reviewed that, Vamp, so you should know that. No, I'll be honest. I don't think you need to watch the original. I think 97 holds on its own. There's a few details that you could watch the original for, but like most of it doesn't even come up. Like you could watch it to see like what is like Mr. Sinister's issue with Morph, or like while Charles Xavier is not on Earth. Like stuff like little like details like that were set up in the old series, but like I don't think there's enough mention of prior episodes that like you have to go back and watch it. So no, I actually really admire that 97 was able to do that. And I thought the cost of living crisis was bad in America, having problems in the UK. I don't know what the situation is in the UK, but I am curious about that. My mom and I found a way to live there without working 3 jobs. Congratulations, because there are 6 jobs between me and my siblings living here, and we live in a 2-bedroom apartment on the 2nd floor on the outskirts of Las Vegas. And my rent is $650. It was $8 last year, but it went down, so that's a good thing. So yeah, my rent is $650. What is my favorite arc from X-Men cartoon? Oh, I think my favorite arc. It was the best way I can describe it. It was an episode where Lady Deathstrike, or Yuriko, sent a message to Wolverine. Yuriko had discovered this ship, and she tried to get into it, but she couldn't. And so she said, oh, I need, like, my nails could only scratch it. I need someone with stronger claws to cut through this ship. And so she knew where Wolverine was. So she sent one of her minions to Wolverine and say, hey, your old wife wants to meet you. And he goes, and like Yuriko kind of tricks him into opening this ship, and there's this alien life form like comes out and attacks the X-Men, and like it's so powerful, like even it messes with the Professor. Like he's like screaming, he's like, oh my god, it's a warning, don't open the shuttle. And it's this giant green monster. Like that arc was really, really good. And then at the end of it, like him and Yuriko kind of like they end on like good terms, but like Yuriko had wanted to kill Wolverine because she felt that he killed her father, who was like kind of the creator of Adamantium, and she thought Adamantium was going to be her legacy, but it went to Logan, and it was a whole thing. I think that's the one arc that stands to me the most. A lot of people say the Phoenix one, but I thought the Phoenix one was a little bit generic. Do you think? Yes. Yes. Do I think that Spider-Man 2 would ruin Peter? Yes. Big time. Big time ruined him. And I thought the cost of Yu Yu Hakusho question: what is the better arc, Dark Tournament or Chapter Black? Oh, definitely Dark Tournament. No question. No question. Dark Tournament is awesome. All the characters get to shine. Like Hiei and Kurama and Kuwabara and Yusuke and even Genkai. I love arcs where like all of the primary cast get to do something. It's not like Yu-Gi-Oh! Where it's only really Yugi and Joey that are doing the dueling, while Taya and Tristan and Bakura and Mokuba, they're not doing anything. I like casts where everyone gets to contribute, which is like a problem I have with Dragon Ball. Like, you think back to like Dragon Ball, and you had characters like Tien and Yamcha, and they were really useful. And then you throw them into Dragon Ball Z, and they're like completely useless. And then you even somehow show them up in Super a couple times, and you're like, why are they even here? Like, you guys are like so weak. You're like, you might as well not even be here in the series anymore. So like, why are you here? Like, give them something to do. Which is why I actually like the Tournament of Power more as a whole than the Cell games. Which might sound like sacrilege, because I think the Cell games was cool, but I liked how everyone, in a sense, contributed. Nobody was wasted. Master Roshi wasn't wasted. Krillin wasn't wasted. Android 17 and 18, they were not wasted. Vegeta was very much used. Gohan was good. Frieza was even effective, even though I wish they had used Majin Buu. I wish Majin Buu had been on the team. Everyone got to shine. Everyone had a moment. I appreciate that. That's the kind of arcs in anime I like to see. I don't want everything to just focus on the main character. Everyone has to contribute. Everyone has to develop. And I think Yu Yu Hakusho during the Dark Tournament did a fantastic job at that. Everyone was stronger by the end of that. There's always a third door that you have to look in at the right place. I mean, you would have this bounty hunter work if he Transformers calls lockdown. Another reason why Dark Tournament is better is because Toguro is pretty awesome. He's a pretty awesome villain. Almost a little sympathetic, almost not quite. He's still pretty ruthless. I will say this. I was not a fan of the live action Yu Yu Hakusho. I will say that. I think they did the best they could, but it wasn't very good in my opinion. I know some people might have liked it, but like they squeezed in too much. Like the Saint Beast, they could have done something good with that. That was a good arc. Which X-Men movie trilogy do I think is the best? The original or the prequels? Oof. God, that's hard. Okay, well, here, let me ask you this. When you say, okay, hang on. James, I need you to follow up with this question. What is Days of Futures Past? What does that count as? Because if you're talking about original, you would have like X-Men 1, X-Men 2, and X-Men 3. If you're talking prequels, you would have First Class, Days of Futures Past, Apocalypse, and then Dark Phoenix. And that's 4 films. But if you take Days of Futures Past out, then it would be First Class, Apocalypse, and Dark Phoenix. So you need to clarify, what does Days of Futures Past count as? If you give me an answer, then I can tell you. Chapter Black focused more on Yusuke compared to the... Yeah, that was a flaw. Focused way too much on Yusuke. What is the one gaming franchise where the third installment is my favorite? Oh, that's the third one. Oh, God of War. Well, if we're talking classic God of War, yeah, it would be the third one. God of War 3 was definitely the best of the trilogy. I'm not even counting the side games. I'm talking like the primary games. It would be the third one. Also, Metal Gear Solid was a trilogy at one point, even though there were technically a couple other games that were like Metal Gear. They weren't Metal Gear Solid, so I'm not sure if that counts. But there are a few, maybe Resistance, but again, there's like side games to that, so that's kind of hard. You watched the first episode of live action Yu Yu Hakusho, and it was very mediocre. I mean, it was okay. Like you can tell, like there's certain like live action animes that are done on like really like sketchy budgets, and you can tell. Like have any of you guys seen like the live action Attack on Titan movie? I saw that in theaters, and it was something. I purposely didn't see what the Titans look like. When you saw what the live action Titans were, I shit you not, my theater erupted in laughter. Those Titans look so bad. And it's like there are some things that work in an anime that just visually cannot work on live action. And that was I don't know if it was budget, I don't know if it was films, but those Titans looked bad. Not scary. That was like, what is this? I mean, the original three would be First Class, Apocalypse, Dark Phoenix, aside from Days of Future Past. Which is why I asked. Okay, so you're not counting Days of Future Past. Okay, in that case, easily the original. Easily the original. Yeah, if you take Days of Future Past out, original, hands down. Because it kind of follows the traditional style of a trilogy, at least in the early 2000s. Where the first one was good, the second one was great, the third one, I felt X-Men 3 was okay, but not that good. I mean, there were good things about it, but I was just like, it's okay. It's better than, X-Men Origins, which might not be saying much. And then you look at First Class. First Class was great. First Class was amazing. And then Apocalypse was like, eh. And then Dark Phoenix was like, oh, like just end this now. Yusuke was way too depressing in live action, like Leon and exactly. Like Yusuke is supposed to be like a lively character, so like it's just sad. It's sad to watch. Unpopular opinion: you like Full Metal Alchemist live action? I did not know there was a live action Full Metal Alchemist. I really? How is it? I didn't know that. It makes me wonder what other animes have live action versions. I really did not know that. Wow. I mean, I like the first couple seasons of Full Metal Alchemist, but I didn't know they made a live action version. Death Note live action is pretty good. The Japanese one, I didn't know there was a Japanese one. Really? As I saw the Netflix one, and that was pretty bad. What was so... Oh, dear God. Mortal Kombat... What was so bad about Mortal Kombat Annihilation? Dude, have you not seen it? Well, for one, they recast, all but, Katana and Liu Kang. The story had too many characters. The fights were not good. And, oh my God, the CGI was awful. Awful! And here's the crazy thing. It had a much bigger budget than the first movie. So I was like, where'd all this money go to? Apparently, all that money went into, expensive shooting locations. I was like, then you need to limit where you're going because, my God, that CGI was bad. You could get away with, Reptile in the first one. You could get away with it because they didn't use it much, and I think how it was used was effective, but, my God, the fights were awful. The story wasn't good. I mean, the only thing I could say that was okay was some of the music. I mean, I think the costume-wise, I think some of the costumes were pretty good. I think, Cyrax looked really good. Smoke was okay. They had Scorpion versus Sub-Zero, but, there was no reason to that. And, characters just showed up and then disappeared. Scorpion showed up. Why is Scorpion working for Shao Kahn? That's not a thing. And they tried to combine, Mortal Kombat's, 2, 3, and, a couple of elements in 4. At least Mortal Kombat 1 focused on, the primary concept of the first game and expanded upon it. But you're trying to add in all these elements across multiple games, and you're just shoehorning characters who have no business being there. What the hell? For God's sake, the Street Fighter movie was better than Annihilation, and that was that's like a guilty pleasure. You really enjoyed Arkham Origins? Yeah, I liked Arkham Origins. I like it. How much time we got? We got 5 more minutes. All right, I'm gonna start the PlayStation 4 and get the mystery games started, which nobody guessed, and I'm happy about that. Well, when you watch an anime, do you watch the original language or an English dub? It depends on the anime. There's some anime I don't mind watching with subtitles, and there's some that I watch in English dub. It just depends on the style. You enjoyed the first live action movie, the FMA live action, but seriously miscasted Scar. Yeah, I know that. No, it was like the live action Attack on Titan is bad. Oh. No. Attack on Titan was way worse. I mean, there's at least a couple of things in Annihilation I liked, even now, but oh god, Attack on Titan was awful. If you don't believe me, check it out and try to convince me otherwise. With every bad thing, the music is one good thing about it. Annihilation felt like watching Power Rangers. Yes! Yes! With all the flipping. There was so much flipping. Like, people doing backflips and somersaults. There was all this flipping. It's like, why is there so much flipping going on? It's like, if you knew how to do a backflip or any kind of flip, they put you in the movie. I was like, why is there so much flipping? Like, this makes no sense for this. I mean, flipping is nice, but like, when you've done it for like the 30th time, it's like, stop the flipping and start punching and kicking each other. Like, what's going on? Did I like Mortal Kombat 4? No. Or Mythologies? I never played Mythologies, if I'm being fair. my cousin did, but I didn't. I just pulled up the Raiden Reptile fight, and there's so much goddamn flipping. Like, punch someone for God's sake. Like, it's ridiculous how much flipping's going on here. Like, just punch the bastard! Do I like Borat? Nah, not really a fan. There's got to be a new live-action Street Fighter movie being done by filmmakers with good faith in the franchise. Well, I hope they did it. You know, good luck with that. I always watch anime in English because I can understand it. Well, then learn to read. Do I like Homelander and Mortal Kombat 1? It's nice to see some gameplay. I tested Homelander out a little bit. I might dedicate him, but he's definitely more of a spacer. He's a big time spacer. I think up close, someone with a lot of combos could really screw Homelander up. Why was Mortal Kombat 4 bad? I'm not sure. It just didn't work. It was like the first trying to be like in 3D, but like it just didn't work. The newest Mortal Kombat movie or some other movie? Didn't you say Annihilation was a guilty pleasure? It's a guilty pleasure, but it's like a bad movie. It's so bad. Why do you think the third installment of the trilogy is almost as bad? It's not as good as the second one. I think because they try to do everything bigger and it just doesn't work. Like you know, it just doesn't work. I think this Mortal Kombat 4 it wasn't received well. But I didn't play 4 personally. I skipped 4. I know I played Mortal Kombat 1, 2, and 3, and then I took a break from Mortal Kombat, and then I didn't come back to Mortal Kombat till Annihilation, till Deadly Alliance. Deadly Alliance, so I skipped 4. Reading subtitles is distracting. It's never been a problem for me. Hello, Corey Falls. Okay, guys. Stream's about to end, and this was fun. I'll tell you much. I'll give you guys like 2 more minutes to try to guess what the mystery game is, because I'll say this: the mystery game is a classic. It has a trilogy that spanned 2 generations, and it has a movie. You guys got 60 seconds before. Yeah, I'm gonna start the timer right now. You guys got 60 seconds. Let me start the timer. I mean, it's a great game that I think in some cases got better. But yeah, I'm starting the start clock like right now. See if you guys can guess what it is. 60 seconds. By Metal Gear. No. Metal Gear doesn't have a movie. Ratchet and Clank. Good guess. Maybe next time. Final Fantasy 7. Good guess. Maybe next time. Ratchet and Clank. No. And there's more than 3. Ratchet and Clank has got more than 3 games. There's like 10 of those. You got 35 seconds. You guys give up? Tomb Raider? Nope. Not you. You guys are so cold. Uncharted? Uncharted's not a trilogy. Uncharted's not a trilogy, man. Like this franchise literally has 3 games. There are no side games. It's not like Killzone where there's a bunch of side games. It's literally 3 games. You guys got 10 seconds. And that's 1 minute. You all failed. I feel good about this, but heck, I think you guys are gonna have fun with this game. So hopefully, I will see some of you guys in about 3 minutes. I hope you guys had a good time with the live stream today. And no, it's not Doom. Doom doesn't have a 3rd game yet. see you guys in a few minutes.